Aw, man. How do I fix this? Can we come over here? Hello. I am wearing the same thing that I was wearing in another video, because that video was just me getting ready for this video, so please leave me alone. Today, I'm going to be talking about in-person interview tips for Disney. What else are we talking about? If you don't know, for the international programs, you do need to do an in-person interview compared to a phone interview like DCP. I did mine for my 2018 program, so in January 2018. But they do it every year, so I was like, I'll just give them more tips. I'm pretty sure I already have a video like this, I'm not gonna lie to you. So if I do a video like this, I will link it up there. I didn't watch it again before this, so hopefully I don't repeat too many things. A little bit about me, if for some reason you don't know. Hi, I've done 2 programs, 2018, 2019. I got in after my first application for my 2018 program. I got the role I wanted, I got the date I wanted. I think I'm pretty okay at interviewing. I try my best. So this is me trying to pass along any knowledge that I have. If you don't know, pretty much the way that this is set up is they will do a presentation beforehand. In the presentation, they'll go over things like program costs, housing, the insurance that you need to get a police check, the roles that'll be available, a little bit more info about the program. They'll do things like trivia and give out prizes sometimes, which are super cute. Lots of stuff like that, just kind of like fun information, and then like things that you need to know if you get into the program. So my big tip for this is to sit in the front and take notes. A lot of people do just apply for the program on a whim and aren't serious about it, so showing up, you know, early. I was literally the first person to my interview. Like, I awkwardly walked upstairs and I was like, hi. I think I was literally the first person there, and then she ended up being my roommate, Steph. She ended up being like the first person I ever ran into there. So I was there super early because I was really nervous. It was in downtown Vancouver. I didn't super know where I was going. But being there early, and then for the interview phase, like being up in the front, actively answering questions. It's gonna be basic trivia. So if you wanna like study, it's usually gonna be things like, when did the parks open? When did Walt Disney World open? The highest point in the parks. They joke trick question. How many bricks are on Cinderella's castle? So easy trivia like that, but taking notes on like program fees, program dates, roles, things like that. It not only shows that you're really interested in the program and you're willing to invest like your attention into the program for things they're talking about, it also makes it easier because if you're not the first interview right off the bat, having like a list out of what roles are offered, what the program dates are, things like that, it gives you a chance to kind of re-evaluate things. Because I'll talk about a little bit later, but say your top 3 role choices aren't there. Having a list of what roles are available gives you a better like chance of being able to understand those roles and like being able to like reevaluate what roles you'd really want, so you're not just like making things up in the interview, you know? Also, it gives you a better idea on how to save up. The program is really expensive. If you guys want me to do a video all about program costs, I can definitely do that, because I easily spent, you know, $2,000 leading up to the program both years. It is really expensive to take part in, so having all those prices down, it gives you that time in between like your interview and your acceptance 2 weeks later, if you get an offer, to kind of save up money and really think about, is this going to be worth it for me? And like I said, for roles, go into it knowing your roles. If you go onto the international programs website, there is a page somewhere that will list all the roles that are offered, but that's very much in general. It'll list all the roles that Canadians possibly can do, but it's not guaranteed that those roles are actually going to be offered for your year. So first off, know your roles, go through, it'll list like all the requirements. Usually there'll be a little video about the role and kind of give you an idea. You can look up on YouTube. I have a whole playlist on character attendant. I talk about attractions a lot. You can literally type in like Disney College Program attractions and people will usually have a video on it. Disney College Program working quick service food and beverage, people will usually have a video on it. So knowing what roles you're interested in, and then I always say come in with a top 5. Like I just said, they won't always offer everything. So I think I'd actually be interested in housekeeping. I think housekeeping would be interesting, but housekeeping has never been offered the 2 years that I've done the program. For Canadians, we don't get things like photo pass, which is offered to Americans. We have very, very limited performer roles. Attendant is usually only for alumni of the program. Things like that are good to know going into it. So if you get to the interview and say your top, you know, even your top 5 are like character performer, character attendant, housekeeping, custodial, and lifeguard. If those are your top 5 and you've never done a program for, the chances are they're gonna have really limited roles for character performer. You're gonna have to be one of 2 heights. They're probably not gonna offer attendant to new people. Housekeeping, lifeguard, and custodial were all not offered in 2019. You see where I'm going with this. Those are honestly the 5 to be like iffy about. Quick service food and beverage, merchandise, rec attractions, Cedar are usually always offered. So I'd say out of those ones, know kind of like your top 5, and then if they cut out 1 or 2 of them, you still have a top 3 because they're gonna ask your top 3 in your interview. But knowing your roles, knowing how to kind of want to rank them, also knowing what you'd be good at them is really big as well. As much as you want to go work at Disney, you want to prove to Disney why you're an asset to them. So I mentioned this in my like alumni tips video, I think, but you don't want to go in and say like, I want to get into the program and I like to do attractions. It's my #1 choice because I think it'd be fun to work at a ride. Because like, yeah, it'd probably be fun to work at a ride, but first off, attractions cover so much that you may not be at a ride. You may end up like me and work as a greeter in parking if you get attractions. It's better to know why you would be good for it by looking up the requirements, by saying, I would really love to work in the program because I think Disney's an amazing company. I really enjoy their values and I would love to be able to immerse myself in that culture. I think attractions would be a great role. It is my first choice because it's something a little bit more unique. I'm also really comfortable talking in front of a crowd. I've worked in safety critical positions before. I'm comfortable memorizing spiels, things like that. I also think that a lot of them are outside and I'd be happy to work outside in Florida in the summer, which is probably totally a lie, but it sounds a lot better than just saying that a ride would be fun. Things to keep in mind, I talk about this in my video about body modifications and tattoos in Disney. If you have a tattoo between your fingertip and your elbow, you can't work quick service food and beverage. Quick service food and beverage, you can't use band-aids, you can't use makeup, you can't use long sleeves to hide things, so it's pretty much automatically nixed. I believe it's the same for Cedar because it follows food safe rules. So if you're someone that has a tattoo on your wrist, know that those are automatically not going to be options for you. If you're someone who is a lifeguard and you have a thigh piece that's a huge tattoo, maybe lifeguard isn't going to be the best role for you because you're always going to have that covered up, so you're always going to have your shorts on, things like that. Also, this isn't a huge thing, so I feel like people don't really like go into it, but if you're someone who has like back problems or like any sort of like physical disability, keep that in mind. Not every single role is super disability accessible. Things like merchandise, you do technically have to sign off that you're able to lift 50 pounds, I believe. So keep things like that in mind. It'll probably never come up, but if maybe you don't want to be doing a lot of stock and lifting, maybe merchandise or quick service food isn't going to be for you. Be ready for housing questions. If you don't know, international participants always have to live in Disney housing, so you're going to be one of the 4 complexes and you can live between 1 and 7 people as your roommate number. So you're going to be living with someone no matter what, so they will always ask you questions about this. Having proof that you are a good roommate, or at least you can just kind of get along with people, is really helpful. For me, I lived in dorms for a couple years, and then obviously on my last program I was like, yeah, I lived with 5 girls and we had no issues. So keep in mind, they're going to ask. So even if you're someone who's never lived outside your parents' basement and you have your own room, or you've always lived alone, have something to back it up, to say like, oh, I've worked at summer camps before with people, or oh, I've done retreats here where I've shared like, you know, a tent or a cabin, or I've done like big group trips where we had 4 of us in a hotel room for 2 weeks. Things like that are really helpful because then they know that you're probably not going to be a problem with housing, and I honestly think that housing problems and roommate problems are probably the biggest issue that Disney deals with more than actual job problems. I said this before, I'll say this again, I will say this until I die, but be Disney look. If you can't be Disney look for 1 single day on an interview, how can they expect you to do it every single day for work? When I mean Disney look, I mean simple makeup, nothing too crazy. I wore, you know, this makeup every single day. The video that I filmed before this video was this Disney look, sweat-proof. Holiday, nope. Florida makeup. Don't have like super crazy long winged eyeliner, don't have massive lashes on, hide any piercings. I flip my septum up for my in-person interview. I flip my septum up every day at work, so take piercings out. I did have tunnels in my ears so you could see through my stretched ears. I put these in so they just look like big earrings. If you have, you know, huge tattoo on your arm, wear a long sleeve jacket to your interview. Things like that make a big difference. If they don't know that there's any problem with you, then you're probably fine. They can look at you and they can automatically point out things that may not mesh with the job and the company. Maybe not the best. I feel like I talked really fast today. I'm in like a really good mood today, which almost never happens. Maybe it's because I'm just like in like comfy hair, comfy clothes, living my best life. Those are my in-person interview tips for if you are applying for the J1 program. A lot of this also crosses over to the CRP cultural representation program, because it's the same interviews with the same interviewers pretty much. Disney look, pay attention, take notes, know your roles, and know why you'd be good for them. It's kind of the summed up version of that. When you guys are seeing this, I'll probably be releasing this right around the time the interview offers go out, which is usually kind of like early mid-December for new people, and then your in-person interviews are usually like middle of late January, so you have about a month to prepare. If you guys have any questions preparing for this interview, you can definitely let me know. You can leave a comment down below. You can also follow me on Instagram. I am easier kind of to get a hold of over there, or if you are in the Facebook group, you can ask me there. You can post something there. There's like a bunch of alumni that are always there to help. You can message me there. You can message me there too. So all my links to all my other social medias are down below. Please subscribe. I have more stuff coming out as we get closer to the dates, obviously. And if there's anything else that you want to see, leave me a comment as well. I'm always open for suggestions. That is it for the day. That is all. I will see you guys in a couple of days. Bye.